The wake-up moment that changed my life. If you had told me a few years ago that one small habit could completely change the course of my life, I probably would have laughed. I thought I was doing just fine. I wasn't bedridden or battling any major illness. Sure, I felt tired sometimes and maybe a little forgetful, but wasn't that just normal aging? It wasn't until that one morning that everything changed. I remember it vividly. I woke up expecting it to be just another ordinary day, but as I tried to get out of bed, a sharp, shooting pain ran down my back. My knees ached, my hands felt stiff, and I was utterly exhausted. I looked at the clock, 7 a.m., a time I used to greet with energy. But that morning, I felt like I hadn't slept at all. It wasn't just physical pain. There was a heaviness in my chest, a fog in my mind. I shuffled to the bathroom mirror and barely recognized the face looking back at me. My eyes were dull, my skin looked pale, and there were deep lines of exhaustion. I thought, is this how aging is supposed to feel? That day was my wake-up call. I was stuck in a cycle, without even knowing it. Looking back, I realized how many unhealthy habits I'd let creep into my daily life. I was skipping breakfast, rushing through the morning, glued to my phone, and barely moving my body. My mornings were filled with stress, distraction, and fatigue, but what scared me most was the realization that this was just the beginning. I imagined a future where my energy levels kept declining, where my mind grew foggier and my body weaker. I saw a version of myself who was merely surviving each day, not truly living. I thought about my family, my grandchildren, my friends. I wanted to be present for them, to play with them, to share stories and laughter. I wanted to live, not just exist. The moment of decision. That evening, I sat down with a cup of tea and a notepad. I wrote one question at the top of the page. What am I doing every morning that sets the tone for the rest of my day and ultimately my life? As I stared at that question, I felt a wave of realization wash over me. My mornings were chaotic, unintentional, and reactive. I was starting each day in a state of stress, which only compounded as the hours passed. I realized that if I didn't change my mornings, I couldn't expect my health or my life to improve. That night, I made a promise to myself. Tomorrow morning will be different. The first morning of change. The next morning, I did something I hadn't done in years. I woke up before the alarm. I sat on the edge of the bed and took 3 deep breaths, feeling the air fill my lungs. I noticed how tense my body was, so I spent a few minutes stretching gently. I didn't reach for my phone. Instead, I made myself a glass of warm lemon water and sipped it slowly while watching the sunrise. The world outside was peaceful, and for the first time in a long time, I felt connected to the present moment. That morning, I felt different. I felt alive. It wasn't a dramatic transformation, but it was the beginning. Why that morning was a turning point. Looking back, I can see how that one morning marked the start of a journey that has completely changed my health and outlook. It was the day I realized that how I start my day sets the tone for everything that follows. When I chose to wake up with intention, to breathe, to move, to nourish my body, I was telling myself that my health and well-being mattered. I was reclaiming control over my mornings and, by extension, my life. And here's the most surprising part. It wasn't hard. It didn't require expensive supplements or hours of meditation. It was simply a shift in mindset and a commitment to one small, consistent ritual every morning. The question that changed everything. That morning, I wrote one more question in my notepad. If one morning habit can make me feel this good, what else is possible? That question has driven me ever since. It's what led me to explore new habits, dive into research, and ultimately discover the secret morning ritual that has become my daily anchor. A ritual I'll reveal in the next part of this video. I can't wait to share it with you because it's simple, powerful, and something you can start tomorrow morning. But for now, I want you to think about this. When you wake up tomorrow, what's the first thing you'll do? Will you rush into the day? Or will you take a moment to breathe, stretch, and connect with your body and mind? That choice might just be the secret to a longer, healthier life. Unveiling the secret morning ritual. So there I was, standing at the edge of a breakthrough. That first morning, with a simple decision to pause, breathe, and sip lemon water, felt like a revelation. But I knew it wasn't enough to just feel good. One day, I needed a repeatable, reliable morning ritual. And here's where the real secret began to unfold: the search for a sustainable morning ritual. Over the next few weeks, I became obsessed with discovering what the healthiest, longest living people did every morning. I pored over books, listened to podcasts, and even spoke to a few health professionals. I wanted something that wasn't just trendy or complicated. I wanted a ritual that aligned with human biology and longevity science. And guess what? The secret wasn't in some exotic superfood or a 3-hour meditation routine. It was in simplicity and consistency. Here's what I discovered. Step 1. Hydrate before anything else. Almost every longevity expert and centenarian I read about started their morning with hydration. It wasn't just about drinking any liquid. It was about replenishing the body's water supply after hours of sleep. I began starting my day with a large glass of warm water infused with lemon juice and a pinch of sea salt. This not only woke up my digestive system but also replenished essential electrolytes. I felt more awake and energized within minutes. Step 2. Gentle movement to awaken the body. Next, I incorporated 5 minutes of gentle stretching and joint mobility exercises. This wasn't a sweaty workout, but rather a mindful series of movements that released stiffness and sent signals to my body that it was time to move. I'd rotate my neck, shoulders, and hips, bend forward gently to loosen my spine, and practice a few simple breathing exercises. The science behind this is fascinating. Just a few minutes of morning movement can improve circulation, oxygenate the brain, and release feel-good hormones. Step 3. Deep breathing or mindful meditation. This was the most transformative part of my ritual. I used to wake up and immediately check my phone, filling my mind with news, emails, and stress. But when I replaced that habit with 5 minutes of deep breathing, everything changed. I'd sit comfortably, close my eyes, and focus on slow, deep breaths. Inhaling for 4 counts, holding for 4, and exhaling for 6. This simple practice calmed my nervous system, reduced anxiety, and created a sense of control and clarity. Step 4. Nourishing breakfast with longevity foods. I realized that breakfast wasn't something to be rushed or skipped. It was an opportunity to fuel my body with nutrients that supported longevity. I swapped sugary cereals and processed carbs for a nutrient-dense breakfast. Think oats with berries and seeds, a green smoothie packed with spinach and avocado, or a couple of eggs with sautéed greens. These choices gave me sustained energy and supported my body's repair processes. Step 5. Setting intentions for the day. This might sound simple, but it's powerful. Before I officially started my day, I'd take a few moments to write down my intentions and priorities. Instead of rushing into the chaos of emails and errands, I grounded myself by asking, what's one thing I'm grateful for today? What's my main focus or intention? How do I want to feel throughout the day? This small act created a mindset of purpose and positivity, which carried me through even the busiest days. The secret is simplicity and consistency. What surprised me most was how easy this morning ritual was to maintain. It wasn't about doing everything perfectly or for hours. It was about consistency, repeating these simple steps every morning until they became second nature. And here's the magic. Within just a few weeks, I noticed profound changes. My energy levels were higher. I wasn't reaching for coffee to survive the morning slump. My mind felt clearer and my mood was more stable. I even noticed subtle improvements in my skin and digestion. This was no miracle cure. It was the compounding effect of small, intentional actions. A secret shared by the longevity masters. When I looked into the habits of the world's longest living people, whether in Okinawa, Sardinia, or Loma Linda, I realized they all shared a similar approach to mornings. They embraced hydration, movement, mindfulness, wholesome nutrition, purpose-driven intention. These habits weren't just about adding years to life. They were about adding life to years. And the best part? You don't need to live in a blue zone to adopt them. You can start tomorrow morning right in your own home. My promise to you, in the next part of this video, I'll dive into the science behind why these rituals work, from how hydration improves cellular health to how morning movement enhances brain function. But for now, I challenge you. Tomorrow morning, choose to start with just one of these steps. See how it feels to begin your day with intention and self-care. Remember, it's not about perfection. It's about the commitment to take that first step. The science behind the secret. After weeks of embracing this simple morning ritual, I started feeling different, stronger, more focused, and even a bit lighter on my feet. But it wasn't enough for me to just feel better. I wanted to understand why this was happening. What was the science behind these small morning changes, and how were they contributing to a longer, healthier life? So I went deep. I consulted studies, spoke with health professionals, and compared notes with other longevity seekers. What I found was eye-opening. Hydration, fueling your body's natural processes. Let's start with the most basic but powerful part of the ritual: hydration. When we sleep, our bodies are in a state of gentle fasting and detoxification. We lose moisture through breathing and sweat, and we wake up dehydrated. Studies show that even mild dehydration can lead to headaches, fatigue, reduced mental clarity, and slower metabolism. When I began starting my day with warm lemon water and a pinch of sea salt, I was doing more than just quenching thirst. The water helped rehydrate my cells, while the lemon provided a dose of vitamin C and the salt added essential minerals and electrolytes. Research has shown that staying properly hydrated helps maintain optimal blood pressure, support healthy kidney function, flush out toxins from the body, enhance skin elasticity, and glow. In short, that morning glass of water wasn't just a feel-good ritual, it was a science-backed step toward better cellular health and longevity. Movement. Awakening the body and brain. The next piece of the puzzle was the gentle morning movement I'd incorporated. Stretching, joint rotations, and breathing exercises may seem simple, but they stimulate blood circulation and oxygen delivery to vital organs, including the brain. Here's what the science says. Morning movement increases blood flow and delivers oxygen and nutrients to muscles in the brain, improving alertness and mood. It supports lymphatic drainage, which helps clear waste products from the body's tissues. Regular stretching maintains flexibility, reduces the risk of falls, and improves joint health as we age. One study even showed that low-intensity morning exercise improves insulin sensitivity, which is crucial for metabolic health and longevity. It's no wonder I felt more energized and focused after just a few minutes of movement. Breathwork and mindfulness. Calming the nervous system. Before this journey, I thought deep breathing and meditation were just for the ultra-zen. But when I started practicing slow, intentional breaths every morning, I felt a profound shift, not just in my mind, but in my entire body. Science explains this beautifully. Deep breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which promotes relaxation and counteracts the stress response. It lowers cortisol levels, the stress hormone, reduces blood pressure, enhances focus and emotional regulation. Chronic stress is a known accelerator of aging, contributing to inflammation, heart disease, and cognitive decline. By beginning each day with mindful breathing, I was literally rewiring my stress response system, turning down the noise and creating space for clarity and resilience. A nutrient-packed breakfast, fuel for longevity. When I swapped my carb-heavy, sugary breakfast for nutrient-dense options, I noticed a change almost immediately. I stayed fuller longer, my blood sugar stayed steady, and I didn't experience the dreaded mid-morning energy crash. But what's the science behind it? Research into longevity nutrition highlights several key elements. Whole grains, healthy, fats, and lean proteins provide steady energy and support metabolic health. Fiber-rich foods like berries and seeds promote gut health, which is closely tied to immune function and even mental health. Antioxidant-rich foods, e.g., berries, spinach, reduce oxidative stress, a major contributor to aging and chronic disease. Studies of centenarians around the world show that they prioritize whole, unprocessed foods in their morning meals. By doing the same, I was aligning with the habits of some of the world's healthiest and longest-living people. Setting intentions. Rewiring the brain for positivity. The last piece of the ritual, the intentional reflection and gratitude, practice, might seem the least scientific, but its effects are backed by neuroscience. When we consciously set intentions and express gratitude, we engage the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making and emotional regulation. Over time, this practice strengthens neural pathways associated with positive thinking and resilience. In fact, studies show that gratitude reduces symptoms of depression and anxiety. Daily goal setting improves focus and productivity. Positive affirmations enhance self-esteem and well-being. By taking just a few moments each morning to write down what I was grateful for and what I intended to focus on, I was literally training my brain to think better, feel better, and age better. The power of compound benefits. When I put all these pieces together, I realized something powerful. Each of these small morning habits might seem minor on their own, but together they create a compounding effect. I wasn't just hydrating my body, I was fueling every cell. I wasn't just moving, I was enhancing circulation, flexibility, and brain function. I wasn't just breathing, I was calming my nervous system and reducing the wear and tear of chronic stress. I wasn't just eating a healthy breakfast. I was supporting metabolic health, reducing inflammation, and feeding my brain. I wasn't just writing down intentions, I was wiring my brain for positivity and resilience. These weren't isolated actions. They were a synergistic system for longevity, a way to start each day aligned with what my body and mind needed to thrive. How this morning ritual transformed my life. It's one thing to know the science, but it's another to feel the change deep in your bones. When I first committed to this morning ritual, I wasn't expecting a miracle. I just wanted to see if a few small changes could make me feel a little better. But what happened over the next few months was nothing short of transformative. Let me share my story, the real, raw, personal side of this journey. The early days, resistance, and doubt in the beginning, I'll admit, it wasn't easy. The alarm would ring, and my old habits would pull me back. Just 10 more minutes, I'd think, and I'd snooze. Or I'd grab my phone scrolling through emails and social media before even sitting up. I was stuck in the reactive, stressed out loop I'd been living for years, but I'd made a commitment. One morning, I forced myself out of bed, stumbled into the kitchen and poured that glass of lemon water. It tasted sharp and refreshing. Then I moved my body just a few minutes of stretching and sat down for deep breathing. That first morning, I felt a subtle shift. But it wasn't until I kept doing it, day after day, no matter how groggy I felt, that the true transformation began. Week 2. Energy like I'd never felt before. By the second week, something remarkable happened. I woke up before my alarm. Instead of grogginess, I felt an eagerness to start the day. My digestion improved, my headaches lessened, and I noticed I wasn't crashing in the afternoon like I used to. I wasn't relying on caffeine to get through the morning anymore. My skin started clearing up. I felt lighter, both physically and mentally. My morning ritual was no longer a chore. It had become a source of stability and energy. Sharper mind, better focus. I used to struggle with brain fog in the mornings, taking hours to feel sharp enough to handle work or complex tasks. But with this ritual, I found that my mind was clear and focused from the moment I sat down at my desk. That deep breathing practice was rewiring my brain's stress response. I wasn't reacting impulsively to stressors anymore. Instead, I felt a calm, steady resilience. I could tackle problems without feeling overwhelmed. And that intentional gratitude practice? It changed the way I viewed my entire day. Instead of seeing obstacles, I saw opportunities. My mood was consistently better. Physical changes I could see and feel. After a month of following this ritual, I noticed physical changes that surprised even me. I had more stamina for exercise, my skin looked healthier, and I felt more flexible and balanced. My digestion improved dramatically. I was no longer bloated or sluggish, and the best part? I lost a few stubborn pounds without even trying. I wasn't dieting, I was simply nourishing my body better, hydrating and moving mindfully. My metabolism had shifted, and I could feel it, breaking the cycle of stress and reactivity before. This journey, my mornings were reactive and stressful. I'd wake up, check my phone, read stressful news, and rush into the day feeling already behind. That mindset spilled into everything: my work, my relationships, my health. But with this ritual, I reclaimed my mornings. I created a buffer between me and the chaos of the world. By starting my day with calm, intentional steps, I set the tone for everything that followed. I was no longer at the mercy of stress. I was in control. Unexpected joys and deeper connections. Here's something I didn't anticipate. This ritual made me more present, not just with myself, but with others. I found that I was more patient with my family. I listened more deeply, responded more kindly, and felt more connected. I even started sharing my morning ritual with my spouse. We'd drink our lemon water together, stretch side by side, and talk about what we were grateful for. It became a shared ritual, deepening our connection. And when I shared it with friends, they too noticed improvements in their energy, mood, and resilience. A sense of accomplishment that builds confidence. One of the most powerful transformations was internal, a sense of accomplishment that spilled into every aspect of my life. When you start your day by keeping a promise to yourself, it creates a ripple effect. That feeling of, I did something good for myself today, builds confidence and self-trust. Suddenly, I was more likely to make healthier choices throughout the day, whether it was choosing nourishing meals, moving my body more, or staying focused on my goals. This wasn't about being perfect. It was about being intentional. A ritual that grows with you. What I love most about this morning ritual is that it's flexible. Some days I have 30 minutes to indulge in every step. Other days I might only have 10 minutes. But even on the busiest mornings, I can still hydrate, move a little, breathe deeply, and set an intention. It's a ritual that grows with you, adapting to your life's changes and challenges. And the longer you practice it, the more it becomes second nature, a foundation of health and resilience that you can lean on no matter what. Your next step toward longevity. Now that I've shared the transformation I experienced through this morning ritual, it's time for us to talk about what happens next. You've stuck with me through this journey so far, and that means you're probably wondering, how can I start applying this to my life today? In this final part, I'll not only give you a clear roadmap, but also share the mindset shifts you'll need to make it stick. Because here's the truth. This isn't just a routine. It's a foundation for a longer, healthier, and more vibrant The Bao's Step 1. Start small and be consistent. When I first started, I thought I needed to get everything perfect on day one. The hydration, the movement, the breathing, the gratitude practice, and the healthy breakfast. But the real magic happened when I gave myself permission to start small. If you're feeling overwhelmed, just pick one element to begin with. Maybe tomorrow morning you'll simply start your day with a glass of water and a few deep breaths. That's enough to shift your physiology and mindset. Then, after a few days, add another layer, perhaps a short stretch, a few minutes of mindful breathing, or jotting down a simple gratitude note. Over time, these small steps build a powerful ritual that becomes as natural as brushing your teeth. Step 2. Create a morning ritual plan. Here's how you can design your own ritual. 1. Hydration. Prepare a glass of warm lemon water with a pinch of salt the night before. 2. Movement. Choose simple stretches, joint rotations, or light exercises you enjoy. Aim for just 5 to 10 minutes. Breath work. Practice deep belly breathing, box breathing, or alternate nostril breathing. Even 3 to 5 minutes is effective. 4. Gratitude and intentions. Keep a notebook or app where you can write down what you're grateful for and your focus for the day. 5. Nourishment. Plan a balanced breakfast with whole foods. Think oatmeal with berries, eggs with greens, or a smoothie packed with nutrients. Print this plan or write it down where you'll see it in the morning. Visual reminders are key to forming new habits. Step 3. Anchor your ritual to an existing habit. One of the tricks I used to make my ritual stick was anchoring it to an existing habit. For example, I kept my water glass by my toothbrush, so as soon as I finished brushing, I'd drink it. I did my stretching right after making the bed, creating a seamless transition. I paired my gratitude practice with my first cup of tea or coffee. This habit stacking technique makes the new ritual feel less like a disruption and more like a natural extension of what you're already doing. Step 4. Focus on progress, not perfection. Here's a truth I had to learn the hard way. Perfection is the enemy of progress. There were mornings when I skipped a step or only had time for hydration and breathing. And that's okay. Longevity isn't about doing everything perfectly every day. It's about consistently returning to your foundation, even when life gets busy. Over time, those small, imperfect steps create lasting change. If you slip up, don't beat yourself up. Just start again the next morning. Step 5. Listen to your body and adjust as you start your morning ritual. Pay attention to how your body and mind respond. Some days you might feel more energized, while others you might need extra rest. Maybe you'll discover that a longer breathing session helps you feel more centered, or that a heartier breakfast keeps you fuller longer. The key is to stay tuned in and adjust the ritual to fit your unique needs. Remember, your body is your best guide. Step 6. Celebrate the small wins. This might sound simple, but it's one of the most powerful steps. Every time you complete your morning ritual, even if it's just a single deep breath or a glass of water, celebrate it. Acknowledge that you're investing in yourself, your health, and your future. These moments of celebration build positive reinforcement and make it easier to keep going. Step 7. Share the journey. I didn't do this alone, and neither should you. Sharing this journey with a partner, friend, or community can make all the difference. When I started sharing my morning ritual with loved ones, not only did I stay more accountable, but I also created meaningful connections. Imagine starting your day knowing that you're part of a growing movement of people committed to living longer, healthier lives. Step 8. Trust the process. It might take a few weeks before you notice significant changes, but trust me, if you stay consistent, you'll start to feel clearer, more energized, and more in control of your day. You'll wake up looking forward to this special time. You'll feel the shift in your focus, energy, and overall well-being. And most importantly, you'll know that you're giving yourself the best possible start to a long, vibrant life. A final word. You've got this if you've made it this far. It means you're ready to take charge of your mornings and ultimately your health. You don't need fancy supplements, expensive programs, or complicated routines. All you need is the willingness to start, one small step at a time. So, tomorrow morning, when you wake up, remember this. Hydrate your body. Move gently. Breathe deeply. Fuel yourself with whole foods. Set your intentions for the day. These simple acts, when repeated consistently, can add years to your life and life to your years.